A lot of weird things going on with Natlan, huh? A lot of weird things. I mean, there's no NPCs from there. Their archon's a complete mystery. They've been fighting with one another for over 1,000 years. Who knows about what? They certainly are the Unga Bunga people. They live in harmony with dragons. Yet the weirdest thing, no doubt, is Xbalanque, someone from Natlan. The only reason we know of him is because Xbalanque gave Neuvilletts intro card stating, quote, "Someday when they return, their true ordeal shall begin." Xbalanque, one entombed with the primal fire. In Mayan mythology, Xbalanque is one half of the Mayan hero twins, with the other being his brother, Hunahpu. Xbalanque translates to either hidden sun or jaguar son. Xbalanque and Hunahpu, in mythology, were born long, long ago, the good old-fashioned way, when the severed head of their father spit into their mother's hand, causing the brothers to appear in her womb. By God, how this practice fell out of favor, I will never know. The twins were treated horribly growing up, but always kept a cool head, displaying supernatural powers, such as the time they turned their older brothers, or older half-brothers, loincloth into a monkey. The two grew older, or they were approached by a god named Archon, who wanted their help in taking down an arrogant god called Seven Macaw. They accepted, and at first tried to take down Seven Macaw by firing a blow dart at him. This failed and just ended up in Seven Macaw ripping Hunahpu's arm off. In a bid to get Hunahpu's arm back, the brothers summoned a pair of gods who disguised themselves as elderly doctors to approach Seven Macaw and act as if they needed that arm for one of their patients. Upon learning they were doctors, Seven Macaw asked them to fix his teeth and his eyes, to which they replaced his teeth with corn and took the jewels out of his eyes, causing Seven Macaw to flee in shame. Another victory for Xbalanque and Hunahpu. One day, while Xbalanque and Hunahpu were playing ball, they inadvertently annoyed the gods of Xibalaba, I cannot be saying these names right, bro. Who proceeded to summon the brothers into the underworld. Upon arriving, the gods tried every which way to trick the brothers into dying, such as offering them a place to sit, only for the brothers to go, hey yo, we'd love to sit, man, but nigga, this is a stove. Not a chair. And then the gods went, damn it, how'd they see through that one? The lords would constantly put the two through different challenges, such as houses, like the Razor House, which was a house full of knives that moved on their own, or the Cold House, which was, well, a house that was really cold, or the Fire House, which was, yeah, it was a house that was really hot. Good thing the brothers had strong willpower, man. Otherwise, woo-wee! The two kept passing all the tests, much to the dismay of the lords, until one day the lords created a giant oven and invited the twins once more, hoping to cook them to death. The twins, knowing this was a trap and that they would die, accepted, plopped right into the oven willingly, and then they were burned to death. Unfortunately for the lords of Xibalaba, however, ancient Mayan storytellers valued plot armor far more than they did their own fucking lives, because when the brothers' ashes were disposed into a nearby river, they just regenerated. What the fuck is the point? Except now they were young boys, unrecognizable from who they once were. They went around performing miracles, the most interesting of which being reincarnation. They would burn a house down to the ground, only to bring it back from the ashes once more. Similarly, they would kill one another, only to bring each other back from the ashes once more. The lords of Xibalaba caught wind of these miracles being performed and wanted to see it for themselves, so they summoned the young boys. The boys did a series of tricks for the lords, with the most amazing one being Xbalanque killing his brother Hunahpu by cutting him in half, only to bring him back from death. Two of the lords then inexplicably went, do that to me, brother, and to which the brothers went, finally, and then they just killed the lords, but yeah, they didn't bring him back to life. The two young boys then revealed themselves to the rest of the lords, who were shocked. Okay, wait, well, by reveal, I meant their names, not not their cocks. Not their cocks. They then went to fetch their father's remains, bury them, and ascended to the sky, where Xbalanque became the moon, and Hunahpu became the sun. So, to reiterate, in Genshin Impact, Xbalanque is an especially enigmatic figure due to his close ties with reincarnation, and the fact that he's the one who spoke of Neuvilletts in his drip marketing, again, stating once, quote, "Someday when they return, their true ordeal shall begin. Xbalanque, one entombed with the primal fire." Now, upon this being revealed, the illiterates were quick to gather in mass and quickly formulate the most brain-dead opinion that Xbalanque is the Pyro sovereign, despite the fact that he used the they and their pronoun and not we and our. However, that's not to say his connection with the sovereign should be thrown completely out of the window, seeing as he not only knows about them, but most interestingly, he's also said to be entombed with the primal fire. Whenever the word entombed is used, it's often for funerary purposes, meaning to place a body into a tomb. So similarly, it seems as if our good friend Xbalanque has had the primal fire placed into him by either himself or someone else. But what is the primal fire, and who did this to our good old pal Xbalanque? We, honest to God, haven't the faintest idea. If I'm being honest, this is the first time the phrase has ever been used, but given it sounds archaic in nature, the primal fire could very well be the authority of Pyro once held by the Pyro sovereign. There's a couple of important things to keep in mind about dragon sovereigns thus far. We don't know how many of the original sovereigns remained following the first war between themselves and the primordial one, a progenitor god hailing from beyond the stars. The only person who's confirmed to have died in that conflict was that bastard crackhead Dragon King Nibelung. The only sovereign we've met who was alive during that time period was a pep. However, given the war was eons ago, some sovereigns who might not have died in the original war may have died since then of other causes, such as the Hydro sovereign, who was most likely the dragon Skia, who died in Remuria. Another thing to remember about sovereigns is the fact that they are in essence immortal. Not in that they can't die, because nigga, goddammit, they can, man. But when they do, they will always be reborn. As the Bolt Eater Bath's Neuvilletts with description tells us, quotes, "Following the fading of the seven sovereigns' powers, a new generation of sovereigns is presently being born." Sovereigns seem to be an integral part of this world's systems, which would explain why they are constantly reborn and why their powers were seized by the primordial one. Also, I feel it's important to state, a sovereign being reborn does not mean they will come back as a human. The only reason that happened to Neuvilletts was because the bishops became impure and made new variants, and it was, something with interracial marriage. So thus the Hydro sovereigns became a human. Neuvilletts himself doesn't even know why he was born as a human, although this kind of makes me wonder, where does nigga come from, bro? Surely he didn't have parents that gave birth to him, but he's a human, so surely he didn't just, come from an egg. Honestly, this nigga might have just spawned in one day. Just a little over 1,000 years ago, I think he just spawned in and just started walking. Where were we? Ah, yes, and the final thing to remember about sovereigns is that they are elemental dragons of the highest kind, and at least 7 of them existed before the arrival of the primordial one.
There are 7 elemental archons and 7 matching dragon sovereigns.
So when the card says Xbalanque is entombed with the primal fire, I can think of no fire more primal than that of the original Pyro sovereign's authority of Pyro. However, if Xbalanque is indeed equipped with the Pyro authority, then how did he even come to possess it? One thing to note is that we have met 2 sovereigns thus far, the Hydro and the Dendro ones, and coincidentally, we also met them in the lands of Hydro and Dendro. So, should this same pattern follow, the Pyro sovereign, reborn or otherwise, could indeed be in Natlan, given it's the nation of fire. However, even if the Pyro sovereign is in Natlan, it cannot be it which entombed Xbalanque with the authority of Pyro, given the dragon lost its authority thousands of years ago. The person who should be in possession of the Pyro authority is the Pyro Archon, but they too cannot have just given it to Xbalanque, because if it were that simple, then Focalors wouldn't have needed to conduct a 500-year operation that involved accumulating so much power it was enough to break the throne that the authority rests upon. So if Xbalanque really does have the Pyro authority, and how is that even possible? I suppose it's possible Celestia could have been the ones to entomb him with it, but why entomb someone with elemental authority if they aren't the Archon? Although I am kind of curious, how does that succession shit work? So for instance, when Makoto was dying, did A just reach into her chest? I'm gonna need that gnosis real quick. and then fly up to Celestia, where they just like went, all right, well, here you go, here's the Electro Authority. If that isn't the answer, then did Makoto grant it to her in her final moments? But if that's the case, then authority can be offloaded by the person wielding it, in which case the Fontaine Archon quest was a complete waste of time. I suppose it's possible the Primal Fire isn't the authority of Pyro, and it seems like that's the most likely answer, and it's probably just some flame that's been burning for thousands of years, and it's the first fire ever made by the original Pyro Sovereign, or whatever the case may be. Also, where's Hunahpu? What the fuck's Hunahpu? This nigga plays an integral part of the story, mind you, so maybe he's in Natlan. Maybe not. Maybe he's dead. Maybe he'll be reincarnated. Natlan is the nation of reincarnation. And, motherfucker, we were all sitting here going, oh, La Senora's gonna get reincarnated. Capitano's gonna get reincarnated. The Pyro Sovereign's gonna get reincarnated. The original Pyro Archon's gonna get reincarnated. When in actuality, it was Hunahpu all along.